Here's Adam in Albany. Great to have you on the EIB network. Hello.
Hi, Rush. Thanks for taking my call. I'm actually in Utica, New York, believe it or not.
Utica was great. Well, you're in New York, and as long as you're there, it doesn't really matter where there is, right? Because you're actually here with us, and that's what counts.
I am in the present. I got a lot of points to touch on. I don't have a lot of time with you, I know. So.
Have at it. Just have at it. When it gets boring, I'll tell you.
I kind of have a unique perspective as far as a solution, but the first thing I want to tell you is when I was in 10th grade in high school, we had a bunch of kids that wore all black and chanted the word melt. And they said Melt Day was coming on March 3rd, which was melting point. And it got picked up by the newspapers and the media. School was not shut down. It just said there was going to be a mass shooting, and these kids meant murder every living thing. So my parents kept me home, and over 900 kids stayed home from school that day. School did not shut down. Nothing happened. However, 1 year later, Columbine happened. I was in 11th grade when the first school shooting happened. I've been seeing these things now for the last 15 to 20 years, continuing to happen. All the liberals want to go on the offensive. We got to ban guns. We got to get rid of guns. Time for banning guns is bye-bye. You should have done that 30 years ago. The guns are out there, and it doesn't take Nostradamus to tell you the next school shooting, it's going to happen again, and the person that's going to do it already owns the firearm they're going to use. My suggestion and solution to this is not go on the offensive, go on the defensive. Defensive wins championships. Tom Brady, the best offensive weapon in football history, 500 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, he lost because of defense. Okay, we have to assume these shootings are going to continue to happen, and we have to protect the students and the schools. I suggest bulletproof doors that shut down and lock in all the classrooms. I suggest arming 10 to 15% of the school teachers. Now, with training courses, and the firearms would be owned by the school. Armed guards, metal detectors, cameras. I mean, we do fire alarms at the school. When's the last time you heard of a 4-alarm fire at a high school? You don't have these things happen. I believe the insurance companies make the schools do these fire drills. Let's do shooting drills. I think the defensive is the way to go.
Well, wait a minute. Let me stop you on that because it reminds me of something that I want to respond to something you said earlier too, but about shooting drills. I watched a guy, I think it might have been on Fox, I'm not sure where it was. The premise this guy had been brought on to discuss is how horrible it is today. Look at what we're having to prepare our children for. Guns and shooters, and we're having to prepare them. And this guy said, yeah, it's horrible. We've never had people grow up like this. This is a terrible time. I'm thinking, yes, we have. I grew up being told how to hide under a desk if the Soviets launched a nuclear missile at us. We have had a whole generation of people grow up in school worried, scared to death that the nuclear bomb was going to hit. The idea that kids have never grown up with fear is absurd. Things that are happening today are not unique. It's not that something today is happening is unprecedented. There's always been fear. It's always part of life. It's not a nuclear bomb hitting. It's fired. You think these kids aren't scared to death of global warming? I got another thing for you. They literally think the earth is going to be uninhabitable in another 20 to 40, 50 years. They really have been made to believe this. They're scared to death about all kinds of things. But your point about going on defense, I love your point that the next school shooting or mass shooting, the gun that's going to be used is already in the hands of the perp. That is a pretty astute observation. And I was watching CNN moments ago, and Anderson Cooper, you know it's serious when Cooper doesn't put on a coat and tie. When he's wearing a T-shirt and the jeans, you know it's emergency. He didn't have time to really deck out as a TV performer, as a TV host. And the graphic, Trump did not mention guns in his comments to Nation. And I said, so what? What is that? What the hell does that matter? Yeah. Trump didn't mention guns. But so the focus is totally on the guns. And you're right. Even if we outlaw the purchase of guns today forward, it's not going to stop anything. The time to have done it was years ago, and it was never going to happen. But it's not the problem. That's why it won't work. So you think we could you think we could prepare these schools in a defensive way, like the ideas you had of bulletproof glass and perhaps armed guards, armed teachers, this kind of thing?
Armed teachers. When's the last time you heard of a mass shooting at a police station?
What if the teachers?
No one's going into a school if you got a school full of Steven Seagals.
Right. There's no crime in a police station. That's absolutely true.
So
people don't hold up the cops. But teachers, I can't imagine. Well, some of them probably wouldn't mind, but A lot of teachers probably wouldn't want the responsibility of being armed.
This last gym teacher, he just shielded a student and died. In Sandy Hook, a teacher shielded students and she died. So they're willing to put their lives in front of the bullets with no defense. I'm pretty sure the right teachers will want to arm themselves. And I'm saying properly train them. Have instructors come to the school to train these teachers, prepare them. They conceal the weapon when they're working, and then they would return it into a lockbox at the end.
Well, the left is never going to go for this. And the reason they won't go for it is because adopting your idea of defensive preventative measures has, as part of its acceptance and conclusion, that we're not getting rid of the guns. And that's all they want to talk about. So if we're going to come up with ways to stop this or limit the damage by having armed guards, bulletproof glass, armed teachers, whatever other provisions that we make, the leftists say, you can't do that because you're acknowledging the guns are not going to be changed. Guns are going to still be used. Yep, that's right. They're never going to go for it.
But how many deaths a year are by guns? A little over 30,000? Do the listeners know that of those 30,000, over 20,000 are suicide? I mean, you're talking less than 10,000 deaths a year. The flu kills more people.
I know.
I mean, if you watch the Clinton News Network, you think everybody's dying from guns every day.
Adam, I tell them every year, if you really want to save lives, ban the wheel.
Yeah.
The wheel kills...
Or doctors in the ER.
Well, I don't...
Infection. You know, they say infection kills 200,000 people a year in the ER.
Yeah, that's an odds thing. But, I mean, the wheel, which is used predominantly on the automobile, kills more people every year than guns. Never talk about banning cars. Only internal combustion engine cars. Anyway, Adam, it was quite interesting. I'm glad you called. I have to take a quick time out now. Back at him.